Welcome to a video from lush.com. In this video, I'm going to show you how you can recreate Korg Wavestation patches on the Korg Wavestate. So Korg Wavestation was the late 80s wave sequencing synth that kind of inspired the Korg Wavestate. And I'm going to show you how you can easily recreate some of those performances on that synth and getting them on this brand new Wavestate. So I'm going to look at how you can get the patches that were on that Wavestation and recreate them. You can't import them, but you can recreate them on the Wavestate. I'm going to be using the Wavestate native. My Wavestate's over there. It's just easier to show you on the screen that. As reference, I'm using the VST version of the Korg Wavestation because I've got real Wavestation here. So we can use one of those patches to copy it over. Incidentally, if you like Wavestation patches, then I've got a set of Wavestation patches for the Wavestate. It's available on the lush.com, and I'll include a link in this description if you want to download some of those. So I can have recreating this Cascade Falls preset, and I've got an initial performance here on the Wavestate. So the architectures of the two synths aren't exactly the same, but there are some things that are shared. The Wavestation uses wave sequencing, and so does the Wavestate, and some of the wave sequences that are presets on the Wavestation have been brought over to the Wavestate, and we'll make advantage of that to save as creating those wave sequences manually. So here's the one I'm going to do. This Cascade Falls is what you could hear. And then you hear that classic Wavestate sequence file. So I'm going to set my controller up so I can control it from the key stage over here. And then here's my native Wavestate, and I'm going to set that up so the multi-poly, my multi-poly here is controlling. That's it. Okay, so when we look at the Wavestation, its architecture is similar, but a bit, some respects, some more advanced, and some respects are very primitive compared to the Wavestate. But one area that is quite advanced is you can have 8 patches running as a performance, and then each one of those patches be made of 4 layers. So over on the Wavestate, you can have 4 layers on one performance. So this one's a good one to do because it only actually uses a single patch with 4 layers. If we look at one of the other ones, that one does the same. I'm just going random here. There you go. There's one that uses 2 patches, and each one of those patches is made up of 4. Oh, that one's made of 4 and that one's made of 2. So when you're making these, you have to think of that compromise. So if it is made up with 5 layers effectively, you've only got 4 to play with. You've got to decide where you compromise on that. But for the one I'm going to recreate is this Cascade Falls. So when we go into the patch, you can see it's made up of 4 layers, and you see the button wave sequence lights up there. I think the star indicates that as well. It means it's made of a wave sequence. So what you can do is you can actually solo these sections. So I've soloed that one there. So we've just listened to that. There we can hear that classic wave sequence. So we'll go over to the Wavestate, go on here, and if you look, you'll see there are Wavestation sequences in there. So we can actually search for Follow Me, and there it is. So let's play that. So you can hear it is basically the same. So technically, it's exactly the same. If we go into the wave sequence editor, you can see here there's a long section of VS53, and then it does the other sequencing, and that's exactly what we've got here. You can see the timing, and then we've got the looped points as well. So Korg have done all that work for you, so that's easy bit. So now to make it sound like this, it's really just about fine-tuning that effects. We've got to add the other layers in, but we'll do those in a moment. So it's tuned an octave down actually. So that's pretty simple in synthesis to go. Just drop that an octave down. You can see there. The filter's set at 10%, and there is a filter envelope 113. So I think we're going to need to turn the filter down on this and then use some filter envelope. Let's go first with the amp envelope. The envelopes are pretty different on these. You've got almost like ADSR, but you've got these initial levels and you've got some extra parameters really, but we can recreate that. So we can hear that that is starting with an initial attack and then it kind of fades out, but it's not too much actually. So I think what I would do for that is probably just get a bit of a slope on there and add some release time on there as well. That's about right really, isn't it? So I mentioned the filter. So the filter, the plugin version has sort of enhanced filters compared to the original. So we'll stick to the basics of a low cutoff, and then it's got envelope 1, and there's envelope 1. So it's actually got a bit of an attack, and then it drops down, and then it comes back up again. So how are we going to recreate that? We'll have to think about that one. So we'll go to the filter. We can drop down the filter, and we can't really create that shape, but we can create that second part, and then we can do a little trick probably to create that initial attack. So if I do the set, so we just focus on, you see it's opening up the filter and then bringing it down. So let's emulate that. So something like that. And we set the level for that, don't we? So we go to the filter, the envelope. That's probably about right. Maybe a bit less attack. So how do we get that initial dong and the filter? Well, we can just modify the filter cutoff by something else. What else could we use? We're not using the pitch envelope, so let's go with that pitch envelope. We'll make it the other bit of that envelope, the initial part. So I think it's kind of like that. And then we'll just apply the pitch envelope. Let's just shoot. That's it really, isn't it? I can't hear a lot of LFO on it, so we could apply some LFO. They've got LFO on the mod control and aftertouch, so maybe we'll come back to that. The other thing I can hear though is some effects on there, and we've got a whole and some chorus. So I think that will probably bring that sound closer. We'll put the compressor on. We'll go with chorus. Let's add a bit of delay just for extra. That sounds about right. Maybe our chorus might sound better with a bit of vintage chorus. I think this one. Yeah, that's it. Okay, there's more we can do, but I don't want to take too much time on it. Okay. There's I think that chorus is just what I'm missing. Oh, I should turn it on. Right, it's on. I think that chorus is what I'm just missing. So I'm just going to go back to the modern chorus. That's better. Right, so I've just trimmed that, got the modern chorus. That's that bit. Right, so we go back to our synth. Let's go back to the editor, into patch mode, and let's just solo one of the other parts to this now. There's EP3. So we don't need a wave sequence for that. I'm going to turn that layer off now. So go into the single multi-sample, and what we want is EP3, and we should be able to find that. Especially it's from the Wavestation. There it is. So now it's just a question of setting that up. I don't think there'll be much pitch on there. It was an octave down. Fairly standard EP sort of envelopes on that, so I'll just quickly dial that in. A little bit of sustain. In fact, we probably won't have any sustain. We'll have some release. That's okay. And there's some effects on there, whole and chorus. Again, we haven't got any reverb switched on yet. We'll do that at the end, but I'll switch on that chorus. That's it. That's that layer done. If we go to the next layer, which is Airox. What's the difference with that and the other layer, Airox? Because so you can hear there's actually two Airvoxes in use there. Sometimes they have two, maybe they're just stock diff apart or something like that, which the same with just a bit of detunes, and you can then use a single one and just put the detune in, saving you using the layer, but these are different. So I'm going to focus on this one for now. So that's Airox, and I know that is using the Airox sound. So layer C, we're going to go with a single multi-sequence. If you look for Airox, it should be there. There it is. If you hear it without the effects, I think there's so you can hear it. It's got a bit of reverb on there, I think, but that's almost it dry. Here it is used in the patch, and there's a bit of filter of envelope 1. So there you can see we've got a bit of filter. So we can now do the similar thing. If we go to the amp, you can see the amp envelope there. So actually, most of the work's being done by the filter, I think, there. So I think what we can do is go to the filter, reduce the filter down, put the amp intensity up, go to the filter, and let's just get that into similar style envelope. So it's nice, got a nice slow attack. There's actually no sustain on it, so let's just go with that and then put a bit of release on it. I think we'll put a little bit of sustain release, and there we go. Okay, I'm just going to put a bit more release in the amp. Okay, so that's our layer for that. There's same chorus on that one as well, so we'll just put some chorus on that one. And like I mentioned, the other layer has got a much slower attack. So for this layer, It's actually using the same Airox as well, isn't it? So just put that into single mode. Airox. And go to the AMP envelope, and we can see there that we've got that one with a bit of sustain by the looks of it and some release. Quite a bit slow, isn't it? Yeah, it's a bit slower. Let's have a look at the filter. There's quite a high filter amount on there, low initial filter, and then it's using envelope 1, which is actually the same. So if we go back to, so if we go to here to the filter, we'll turn the filter down, we'll turn the intensity up, and we'll get that nice slow attack. Let's turn that down a bit. Let's just check the release. I think we need a bit of release on that. There we go. We have a look what effects they've used on there, and it's the same again. I think the effects are common to the patch actually, so all the effects are the same for these 4 layers. That's why if you have the performance, you can have different effects on each of the sections, but I think per patch these are common, so we should effectively do the same thing. Put those on like that. Okay, so we could add some reverb because they've used that large hall reverb, so we can have rich hall reverb. Okay, and if we turn on all our layers now, we have all our layers on here. Okay. You can hear that straight away that EP is way louder than the rest of it, isn't it? So I think we put that in there, didn't we? So I think the whole thing sounds a bit brighter, but I don't want to spend too much time finessing it. I think I would go through the filters. What you should do now is save these layers, because these actually are reused in other performances. So here on the Wavestate, we could save that one and call it Follow Me. Okay, so I've saved all those layers with the same name. And now it's just a question of saving the performance. So I've saved that now. And so now I've got my preset there, and I can just tweak that now. I think the airvoxes were a little bit bright, so I can just turn the intensity of the envelopes down a little bit. The E piano was probably okay, just level in there. So there we go, we've recreated that patch. We've used a trick with one of the layers to get that double envelope technique that I showed you there to recreate the envelope style there, and that's recreated those patches. Check out my Wavestate collection, which I've got loads of them that I've already recreated them here, Wavestation patches you can see here, including some of the original factory presets. All these are factory presets. And all these are recreations, and you can see here, I've just recreated, in fact that's one I recreated manually, but anyway, the set has them all in. So there you go, you can recreate nearly all of these on the Wavestate. Just going into the edit mode, and you need to have the source there. So if you've got a real wave station, then it's easy doing it that way. If you haven't, then you've got to do them by ear. But it's great fun to do, and you can see, you can create there. There's the complex one. I could recreate that one probably quite easily. Let's have a listen to what it is. Yeah, I quite like that one. I don't think it's on my list of ones I've already done, so I could have a go at recreating that one, and I'm pretty sure I'm pretty confident I could recreate that because it uses a complex wave sequence, which will be in here. So thanks for watching this video. Check out the sound pack. Let me know if you've got suggestions for other topics for the mod wave, multi-poly, and wave state. I'll see you on the next video.